Hello, welcome to HITC Sport. And right now, my brain is like a scrambled jigsaw puzzle that's just been tossed in the dishwasher. Because Euro 2021 hasn't happened yet, and yet we've just started a World Cup qualification process. It's a bit like marrying someone new before your divorce is finalized, or being about to start a 3-course meal at a 5-star restaurant, and then deciding to whip out a lunchbox filled with stale burgers you found at the local skip. No, just finish what you started first. So yes, World Cup 2022. In Qatar, the home place of Richard Keys and Andy Gray. A place where the weather probably constantly feels like you just stuck yourself in a sauna. A place where you have to build every single stadium from scratch instead of, giving it to England where there's about 10 stadiums worthy of hosting a damn tournament. Oh, lads, football's down the drain. Anyway, listen, since I am the other king of predictions, let's just try and predict the European groups for the 2022 World Cup qualification. And considering these teams are seeded anyway, I'll just say it. I am 98.97% confident that I'm going to accurately predict every single one. And to prove it, for every group table position that I get wrong, I will eat one potato that was just dipped in milk. Right, let's go. Group A. Ireland have sat out the last 5 World Cups. Lads, the last time my country was at an actual World Cup, I was pooping into a kettle and wiping my arse on the curtains. I was a strange child. Please don't make it a full 20 years of failing to qualify for the damn tournament. But this is quite a tough draw. We're traveling to Portugal on the 1st of September, so I'll mentally pencil it into my diary. As for when I'm gonna feel like wanting death, honestly, there's probably at least 9 Uber drivers from San Marino who could probably score against this ramshackle Ireland team. So facing the likes of Ronaldo, João Felix, Bruno Fernandes, Diogo Jota, and trying to fight them off with Shane Duffy and Dara O'Shea, it's like trying to knock out Mike Tyson armed with a pencil case and a toothbrush. Oh, Portugal are gonna bite off a chunk of our ear, aren't they? Honestly, looking at some of the standard of Irish defenders, I'd honestly rather put a bastard scarecrow in defence than some of them. Listen, Portugal are going to eat this group for breakfast. They'll win nearly every match, and Ronaldo is probably sweating through his teeth. He needs just 8 more goals to overtake Ali Dea as the record ever goal scorer in international football. And look what's on the menu. Accountants and bricklayers from Luxembourg and Azerbaijan. My prediction, he'll have this record beaten comfortably by Halloween, and if he doesn't, I'll eat a hamburger made of paper. Anyway, Portugal will obviously finish top, and then I'm gonna back Ireland for 2nd spot, rolling into the playoffs by the width of a hamster's nipple. Listen, I'm recording this video before we played Serbia on Wednesday night, but I'm pretty confident Kenny will help us nick a crucial, valuable, hard-fought point. Who knows? We might even register a damn shot on target. That would be nice. Serbia will finish 3rd, with most Serbians wondering why Alexander Mitrovic's confidence has been so crushed that he can now barely waddle 10 yards without bursting into tears. Then Luxembourg will scrape into 5th, with Azerbaijan finishing last. Group B. Well, the weird thing about Group B is now Zlatan Ibrahimovic is back in the Sweden fold. This guy made his debut for his country in 2001. 20 years later, he turns 40 during this qualification campaign, and he's still targeting another World Cup after sitting out the last one. What? How does he stay in such good shape? What, does he eat nothing but broccoli and protein shakes? Anyway, pretty straightforward. Spain's exciting youthful team will clean up, finishing top without a fuss, and then I'm gonna back Greece to nick 2nd. I know Ibrahimovic is back, but I'm sorry. The form of the Swedish international team is utter pig sick. They lost 6 of their 8 games in 2020. While Greece, sure, they have a nothing squad, but I think they'll pull off a shock to nick 2nd, leaving the Zlatan return looking like an anticlimactic PR stunt. And yeah, Kosovo, an exciting attacking team, but whose defense is also a clownish bowl of chaos. They'll finish 4th with Georgia in last position. Group C. You know what, lads? Group C is tight. I mean, don't get me wrong, Italy will blow the competition out of the water to easily grab top spot, but the battle for 2nd, it's tough. Switzerland have enough high-profile players that should claw them into 2nd, but lads, Northern Ireland always put up a damn fight. Kosovo, they've been punching above the weight for years, but now Michael O'Neill is gone, and they're now being coached by former Sligo Rovers boss. They're not getting any higher than 3rd. Again, Bulgaria's form of late has been utterly rotten, losing nearly every game in 2020, even against Belarus. The only games they didn't lose were against Gibraltar and 2 matches against Ireland. How depressing is that? And finally, Lithuania are finishing dead last. But that's what happens when your goalie just finished a 13-hour shift at Burger King. Group D. Oh, the last thing Ukraine would have wanted was to play France again. They just conceded 7 goals against them in a damn friendly. But listen, Ukraine just finished top of the Euro 2020 qualifying group. Finishing above an insanely talented Portugal team. And they've recently beat Spain, so ignore that 7-1 mess. And Shevchenko is proving he's a half-decent coach. And I'm gonna call it, he's probably gonna manage AC Milan one day. say. So France should finish first, with Ukraine coming in second, and once Finland have their confidence fed through a blender at Euro 2021 this summer, I'm pretty sure they'll just sadly limp into fourth, with Edin Dzeko managing to fire Bosnia to scrape third at the Finish's expense, with Kazakhstan obviously finishing last. Group D. Belgium and Wales must be sick to the teeth of playing against each other. By the time this qualification campaign is done, they're going to have played each other in competitive games 7 times in a decade. That is utter soggy nonsense. The weird thing is, Belgium's golden generation have only ever beaten them once, so clearly the Welsh have their number. 16th of November, pencil in that day. An historic day in Welsh football. I'm predicting Gareth Bale is going to spank in a long-range winner, past his former teammate Thibaut Courtois, in a glorious night for the Welsh. Write that one in, lads. Trust me, it is happening. Anyway, yes, Belgium are winning this group, with Wales sneaking second, Czech Republic will limp into third, with Belarus fourth and Estonia fifth. It makes sense, right? I mean, don't get me wrong. I remember the days when the Czechs were arguably the most exciting national team in Europe, with Pavel Nedved putting strings in midfield, Milan Baros morphing into Ronaldo up front. During Euro 2004, they were like the European version of Brazil. But nowadays, oh, they're just a depressing lump of stale cottage cheese. Group F. Okay, listen, Danish football is in a decent place right now. Don't forget, it took the country until 1986 to qualify for the first ever World Cup. Now, on average, they usually qualify about 50% of the time. Whoever created this group, they should probably kiss them in the teeth, because it's fairly easy and they should comfortably win the group. And again, by the time this qualification process is done, Scotland would have played Israel 7 times since 2018. That is utterly ridiculous. I think Scotland's golden generation will gain so much confidence from shaking that monkey off their back and qualifying for the Euros this year, so much so that they will steamroller their way into the playoffs for the World Cup. Come on, with the likes of Andy Robertson, John McGinn, Scott McTominay, Che Adams, Christ love, they have a more permanently proven quality squad than we do. Come on, FAI, get your finger out. So yeah, Scotland should easily take second, meaning Austria, yeah, another tough squad littered with some top class players, but they'll just miss out, squeaking into third. I mean, come on, they're still relying on Marko Arnautovic, and that man clearly just has his feet up in China, drinking milkshakes on the couch. I'm gonna go with Israel fourth, Moldova fifth, and Faroe Islands dead last. Group G. It's such a shame the Netherlands have been such an incoherent mess of a football team for 20 goddamn years. Ever since the 90s, they've either been brilliant and nearly won the World Cup, like in 2010 and 2014, or they've been so utterly brutal they failed to qualify for the damn thing. This needs to be their redemption, and if they still have Ronald Koeman, then great. Pair him with a star-studded squad, and they'd be heavy contenders for the next World Cup. Well, lads, they replaced him with Frank de Boer, a headless chicken of a manager who lost his job after a month at 2 different clubs. He's a Crystal Palace reject, a guy who could probably barely tie his own shoelaces. Never mind coach a top-class team consisting of world-class egos. So as a result, they'll wind up second and stuffed in the playoff lottery. Turkey will smell weakness, and considering they haven't qualified for a World Cup since they finished third in 2002, they'll seize their chance, and with a talented squad, they're gonna win this group. And if they don't, I will happily drink a pint of egg yolks. In third, sure, Norway have a golden generation coming through, and I think Haaland will help them beat Holland. But come on, Martin Odegaard, Alexander Sorloth, and Haaland isn't just going to just paper over a squad featuring defenders from Coventry and Celtic. They'll settle for third, but I think they'll run Holland pretty close for a second spot. Then I'll go with Montenegro in fourth, Latvia fifth, and finally the nice postman of Gibraltar in sixth, who will fail to score a single goddamn goal. Group H. Oh lads, Group H is ridiculously open. I know Croatia were the runners-up at the last World Cup, but their form since then has been utterly hideous. Conceding a bucket load of goals, getting spanked 6-0 by Spain, it hasn't been good. It's an aging team with half the squad on the verge of retirement, but their competition is so poor that they'll probably still sneak top spot. Okay, listen, Russian football is currently in a hole. Sure, they hosted the 2018 World Cup and they knocked out Spain, great, but now, oh Christ, they haven't won any of the last 6 games, one of which was against goddamn Moldova, and they were just spanked 5-0 by a Serbian team who couldn't even qualify for the Euros. So I'm tipping them to finish third, behind the dark horses Slovenia in second, who are going to pull off one of the biggest ever shocks in qualifying, clawing their way to the first World Cup in 12 years. They're in good form, they have a world-class shot stopper in nets, which will prove vital in such a tight group, and I genuinely think the likes of Atalanta midfielder Josip Ilicic will drag them kicking and screaming into the playoff spots. And having watched Slovakia extensively, I can tell you they are a bang average pudding team, with their star man currently playing on the back of Sweden. Yeah, I know they've qualified for the Euros, knocking out both sets of Ireland, but I don't care, they're a pretty average championship mid-table standard side, so they'll finish in fourth with Russia in third, with Cyprus in fifth and poor little old Malta crying in the corner at the foot of the group. Group I. Oh, Group I, where English commentators will probably mention Ferenc Puskás scoring 4 at Wembley in the 50s every 30 bastard seconds. Yeah, we know Hungary were good in 1953. I'm hungry now. No one gives a Listen, England will have enough to blow everyone out of the water in this easy group. They'll storm into top spot. Although, I'm going to predict a shock 2-0 defeat for ye out in Poland, with Robert Lewandowski utterly milking your defence like a cow, making Harry Maguire look every inch the other postbox he is. Anyway, yes, pretty straightforward. Poland will take second spot, with Hungary limping into third, Albania fourth, Andorra fifth, and San Marino dead last. Lads, this is a group full of minnows, the likes of Harry Kane and Lewandowski. Looking at these bunch of couchies back fours, it's like Craig Shakespeare stumbling into an all-you-can-eat buffet. Group J. Okay, Germany right now are at a low ebb. Back in 2014, they were the ones humiliating historic footballing nations. Now they're the ones having their dignity smeared across toilet walls. They're lucky they've been handed such an easy group though. And under a new manager with Ralph Rangnick the favourite, they'll probably smash their way to top spot. And you know what? I'll tip the plucky golden generation of North Macedonia to squeeze themselves into the playoffs. Because Iceland's golden generation has very gradually and slowly declined over the last 5 years. But I'll stick them in third with Romania. Oh, I'm gonna break the heavy collapse for them. Let me get a fourth, with Armenia fifth and Liechtenstein bottom of the group. And I'm calling it, they'll lose 9-0 at home to Germany. Like, it will be an utter massacre. Anyway, that's it. Let me know in the comments below. What do you think? Have I got these all wrong? Let me know in the comments below. What do you think is going to happen? Predict the groups. Let me know down there. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and as always, I'll talk to you in a while.